Hello everyone, this is Ashish Sani from Innovate Yourself. Welcome back to our channel. In our today's video, you will be learning how do you connect your ESP32 to a web server. So by the end of this video, I will be showing you complete stuff like how do you connect or let's say how do you create your get request and the post request, everything from the scratch. So if you are new to this and if you want to learn completely, stay tuned till the end of this video so that you will be able to understand each and every concept of web server. So this is all that I'll be covering up in our today's session. So before starting by creating your web server, we need to connect your ESP32 to the internet or let's say to the Wi-Fi network so that we can create a web server out of that. So we have two options like how you can create that or let's say how do you create a web server. You can create a web server either by setting up your ESP32 device in your station mode or in the access point mode. So in our today's video, we will be using the first method, which is your station mode. And on the basis of that, we will be first of all connecting a ESP32 to the network or you can say to the nearest Wi-Fi available. And accordingly, we will be setting it up as a web server. And after that, once that is done, we will be connecting it or let's say we will be using it to set up a get request and a post request, which you can use further and you can explore further by doing the R&D stuff on that so that you can do multiple other actions for that. For example, you can do the home automation. For example, you can take the data from the server. Let's say you can take the sensor data and you can upload it to the server, right? So this is all the things that you can do with this. Now, let's not waste much time in the summary part. Let's straightforward go to the project and let's understand how are we going to do complete this thing and how are we going to create this web server which can handle both get request as well as the post request, and you will be learning everything from the scratch. So let's get started. Alright everyone, so I hope now you have got an idea like what exactly we're going to cover up. So let's focus now on the coding stuff. So right now, as you can see on your screen, so I've already opened up the code which I'll be explaining to you right now, right? So basically, like I've already mentioned in the beginning, that we will be covering up like how do you send the get request and the post request using the ESP32 module, right? Now, just because our primary focus is on the get request and the post request, so I'll be covering up that basically. But apart from that, just because the code which I have opened right now in this, we have two more extra things as well, right? And that is like how do you add on the additional authentication process, like in case you want to create a routing that should be like authentication based, let's say the username and password based. If you will enter up the username and password correctly, then only it's gonna open up that direction or let's say redirection for you basically, right? So this is what exactly we also have in this. But as I said, our primary focus is on like get request and the post request, so I'll be covering that first. Later on I'll cover up that thing as well, right? So this is all about that. Now let me start with this, like what exactly we have to do in this. So I'll start from the bottom, right? Now over here, just because as per my previous videos, I hope you have already got a clarity that your main function is your app underscore main, right? So this is the main function which is going to be executed first, or let's say which is going to be considered as the starting point of your code in your ESP IDF, right? So this is what exactly we have. And just because as I said that we are going to create a web server, so basically as I already mentioned that for creating up a web server, what exactly we have to do is we have to start, or let's say we have to connect your ESP32 to the network. And what is that network that I am talking about right now? So for now, I'll be using my mobile hotspot so that it will be a bit easier for you to also relate this thing. Like if in case you are going to use your smartphone as a hotspot, how you are going to connect to that, right? In case you have your router, this process will be same, right? So you can use that process as well, right? So this is the way how do we do that. So initially, just because these things we have already seen in our previous video as well, where we have already seen that how do you connect your ESP32 to the Wi-Fi, right? So for that, it's like you can say these are the initializers, this which we have already covered up in the last video as well, right? In case you are facing any difficulties in understanding this, don't worry, I'll leave a link in the description for this video so that you can check my previous video, and then you can relate to this, right? So this is all about that. So basically these are the initializers which we have to initialize in the beginning, so that we can basically connect, or let's say we can basically start your services for your Wi-Fi thing, right? Whether it's in the STM mode, whether it's in the access point mode. And as I already mentioned that we will be covering up with the STA, which is your station mode, right? So this is what we are gonna do. And apart from that, you can see the first line, I mean like 433 line, in which we are just initializing a server using, or let's say with a value as null. So this is what exactly we are going to do right now, right? Now, as I said that initially we will be connecting our ESP32 to the network. For that, here you can see that we are simply calling up this function which is example underscore connect, that is going to be used to connect to your Wi-Fi credentials, right? Wi-Fi credentials, I mean to say, like what is the SSID and what is the password. So I will be having them, and those SSID and password I have over here in the this kconfig.proj build, right? So in this we have set up the configurations, right? And that we can see over here, right? Okay, sorry, it's not in here, right? Basically it's basically these are the configurations for your credentials, right? What are those credentials which I'm talking about? It's the username and password, because as I said that we have a basic authentication process as well, through which you will be able to access your routing in case you enter the correct credentials, right? So this is basically for that. But where is your SSID and password that you have to mention? That is basically going to be linked as per this, right? Can you see this line inside this cmake.txt, which is the cmake, which is not inside main, which is inside your main directory, or let's say inside your project directory, which is this one, right? So over here you can see this is the extra components which we have added, and this is the path we have already added for that. And just because this is the path I've already added, so the configuration for this SSID and password is over here, right? So currently, just to access that, you have to go to this location just to see the complete thing. But don't worry about that, we don't have to go there, because we have a second option, and that second option is we can check that inside the menu configuration. So that is also we can do, right? So we'll check that over there, and I'll show you once I'll fill up those credentials as well, right? So I'll show you that either. Now let's go back. So basically this examples underscore connect will be used to connect your ESP32 to the network. So this is second way like how we can do that, and one way we have already seen in a previous video, through which we can connect our ESP32 to the network, right? So this is the second way like how we can do that. So this is how you can connect to the network, right? And here you can see like we are setting up the configuration for your Wi-Fi as well as the Ethernet, right? Because it's not like that we can only connect it or let's say we can only connect to the network using Wi-Fi. We can connect to the network using the Ethernet port as well, or you can say the LAN cable as well. So we have the second option as well, but in our case we are going to connect to the Wi-Fi only. So that's the reason we will go for this configuration. And over here you can see we are simply registering the event handler, so that when we are going to start connecting to your Wi-Fi network, your events can be handled accordingly, whether you're going to connect to the network, whether you're going to disconnect to the network. So whatever you want to do, we are basically setting up the handler for them. So you can see for the connection handler, or let's say to get the IP address, we are having this handler which is connect underscore handler. In case you want to disconnect it, we have the second handler which is disconnect underscore handler, and also we have specified that this is a server to which we want to connect it to, right? So this is how we are going to do this, right? So this is all about this. And once this events and everything are handled successfully, now what we can do is we can simply start the web server, right? So this is the function that will be called in here to start the web server, and accordingly we are going to keep it alive. And to keep it alive, we are simply starting up a loop which will be active until your server is active, right? So this is what exactly we are doing, right? So we'll see both the things, right? So firstly, as I mentioned, we have the connect underscore handler and a disconnect underscore handler. So let me show you where we have them. So here is the connect underscore handler, in which we are simply going to say that we are going to start a web server, because in our current scenario, or let's say in our today's task, what exactly we are doing is we are just trying to connect our ESP32 to the web server, or let's say we are going to create it as a web server so that we can hit the multiple requests, whether it's a get request, whether it's a post request, whether it's a put request, or whether it's authentication based process, right? So we will see all of them, right? So this one is for the connect handler. Similarly, in case the events are going to be disconnected, this is basically a disconnect handler which is being created over here, so that we can simply say that now we are going to stop the network, or let's say we are going to stop the web server, because in simple terms you can say now we are not connected to the network, so basically web server will not be active anymore, right? So in simple terms you can understand it this way, right? So this is the way how we have the handler, which is the connect handler and the disconnect handler. Now the next was start web server. So as we said, like we are going to start the web server, so let me go to this function also. Now over here you can see when we are going to start the web server. So basically when you are starting the web server, simply you can say we are exposing our ESP32's IP address as a web server IP address, or you can say the web server URL, right? So basically we are going to do that, and for doing that we are having this function which is the start web server, and inside this what we are going to do is we are simply going to set up the configuration. So currently we are using the by default configurations which we have for configuring our web server. So this is what we are doing right now, and right now you can see we have the Linux one and the NDIF. Accordingly we have set up the conditions accordingly. So this is what we are doing in case it is a Linux system, but right now I'm not using a Linux system, so it won't be affecting anything, right? So you can say it in that way. And the next thing is when you have hosted your ESP32 as some server, or let's say as some web server, so basically on that web server you will be having multiple routings, which normally you can call it as a URLs, right? Let's say I have one URL, and that one URL is like your IP address slash hello. Second URL is like your IP address slash echo, right? You can see over here. First one is hello, echo, and ctrl. It's like we are simply registering three different routings. In simple terms you can also say routing as well, because this is also being called as routing. So we are simply registering three URIs, and for each of them we have a handler. So basically this hello, this echo, and this ctrl are the handler names. These are not the routing name basically, right? So let's check all of them one by one. So let's talk about this hello first. I'll simply go in here, right? So you can go directly, and one more thing over here we have, that is for the authentication. I'll come back to this also. First let's go to hello. So for going to hello you can scroll up, and firstly it's like ctrl, and this is the handler for this. Similarly this is the 404 not found event handler. Similarly this is the echo when you are going to set up a post request. Similarly this is the handler for that. Similarly this is a http underscore get request which we are setting up for hello. So basically this is that event handler which is we are creating right here, and that is the handler name which is hello. So this is the URI, or you can simply say slash hello will be added to your IP address at the end. It's like, let's say your IP address is like 192.168.0.8 for example, and at the end it will be like slash, and this will be that slash hello. So this is how your complete URI will be created, right? And this URI is going to be set up as for taking, or let's say for hitting the get request. So this is a method that we have specified for that. Similarly we have a handler that we have specified for that, and this is that function which we have created for this, which we are calling as hello underscore get underscore handler. So this is the handler for that. And similarly this is the context which we are writing in here to demonstrate, because this is the message that is going to be displayed on your web server, or let's say on your browser, whenever you will be hitting this URI, right? So this is what is going to be happened over here. So in this we have this hello underscore get handler. So this is the handler that we are having in here. So here we are having few of the things that is going to be like taken care, right, regarding this host, regarding this headers and everything. So these all things are being handled inside this event handler, which is for the get request. So this is all about this. Now similarly, this is like written in the detail, but you don't have to go for all of them. You can simply create a basic one as well, right, just for the understanding, right? And this is about the get request. Similarly, as I mentioned, the second one is for the post request. So this is the post request handler, in which we are having the URI name as /echo, which will be used to hit a post request. Now when I'm hitting up a post request, you will be simply receiving some data on the post request, right? And for that we have this event handler. Now as per this event handler, we will be simply receiving whatever data we are getting. We have created this buffer for that, and accordingly whatever data we are going to get, we will be simply printing that over here. Now you can see this is the received data, and this received data will be shown to you on the serial monitor, right? So this is how we are going to do that. In the similar way, like this was about the get request and the post request, which I promise you like I will be covering up in this today's session. Similarly, here we have this HTTP 404 error handler, because there are chances that you will try to create, or you will try to call some of the URIs, or due to some reasons they are not found, right? Because you haven't like registered them properly. So in that cases, like these things can happen and you have to handle them. And for that we have this 404, which is, you can say, your not found error, right? So this is for that. In case your hello is not found, this is the message that will be shown in the monitor. Similarly, echo URI is not available, some 404 error message. So in this way we are displaying multiple messages just for the proper elaboration, right? So this is about that. And similarly, we have a put request as well, where you can simply update your existing data, or in case the data is not there, it will create up a new data and it will be showing to you, right? So it's a put request also, which you can have in here, right? So this is about that. Similarly, you can see here also the process of setting up the values for the URI, for method, for handler, and the user underscore CTX. So this is the same, right? So the way of defining like what URI you are creating, what method you are creating, it's the same. The only thing is your values are varying, right? What is the URI, what is the method, what is the handler, and what is the user underscore CTX. So this is the way like how we have it, right? And one more thing, like I promised, like I'll cover that either, which is your basic authentication. Now I'll go up and I'll go up to this authentication one, right? So over here, this is the basic authentication get handler. So let me scroll down, and yeah, you can see here we have the same way of creating your another method. So this time again, this is your http underscore get method, because this one, or let's say this URI will also be hit in the normal way. Like you can open this in the browser. So when you will open this in the browser, instead of opening that page directly, what will happen is it will ask you for the credential, that what's the username, what's the password. In case you will enter the correct username and password, it will take you inside, and accordingly you will be able to see whatever you have on those page, right? Otherwise it will not allow you to enter inside. It's like you're providing the authentication, it's like you're providing the security on your web server, right? So this is the way of doing that. Now we can also see like what is the basic underscore authentication get handler. So over here you can see, here we are just getting up the basic details, what is that, and accordingly authentication methods are being checked, whether the headers are found or not. So all those things are being checked over here. Now similarly, here we are also setting up the responses for that, like what response we are going to get, what's the connection type, what's the type of data you're getting, what's the authentication level. So all the things are being over here, right? Now similarly, once we have this, we can see like over here, it will be checking up for your username and password, right? Where we have it, right? You can see here. So here basically it is just checking for the username and password. So whatever is the username, whatever is the password, it is just taking in here, and accordingly it is just going to authenticate that whether the username and password that you have entered is correct or wrong. If that is not correct, it is not going to take you inside. If that is correct, it will take you inside, and you can see like what message it will show you on that page, right? Like you can see it will simply print the message as authenticated, and accordingly it will simply show you some message, right? So this is the way like how it will be showing to you, and the message will be something like what is the username and password, that kind of message you will be getting, right? You can see this is that one. This is the message that you will be able to see on your web page, or let's say on the URI that you will be hitting, right? So this is all about the web server part. I hope I was able to make you clear about this. In fact, I promise you just for the get request and the post request. But apart from that, I have also shown you like what is put request. We have also seen for that. We have also seen like how to handle this basic authentication so that you can add a security level to your web server, right? So this is how we can do that. I hope I was able to make you clear on this. But still, if you're unable to understand any of the things, feel free to leave a comment below in the comment section. I'll definitely try to get back to you as soon as possible and try to help you, right? So that's all from my side for like the coding stuff. Now the next thing is that we have to simply upload the code to the ESP32, and right now I have already connected my ESP32 to my system. So basically what I can do is I can simply check that whether the port is available for this or not, and will upload accordingly upload the code, right? Now let me open up the terminal. Like over here, like I have this. So basically I'll simply do the basic formalities. Yeah, now it's here. Now as I already mentioned, one more thing, that we have to set up the username and password for your authentication. Secondly, we also have to set up like what is the credentials for your SSID and password. So let me do that. So for that, you simply have to first of all open menu config instead of directly uploading it, right? So I'll simply open it up. Now you can see we have two configuration, example configuration and example connection configuration. Now let's see what we have inside this example configuration. Now you can see here, in case you want to add this basic authentication process, just select this, and now over here, these are the credentials. This is the username, this is the password. So right now I'll not touch them, I'll leave it like that because I'm not going to show you that, but you can try it on your system or in your case, and you can check whether it's actually working for you or not, because this is going to work as a security level, right? So I'll try like if I can show you or not. So I'll try to add it, right? So let me enter it. Let's go back. Let's go to the example connection configuration. Now over here you can see the credentials I've already added. You can change it as per your available network, right? So this is my SSID and this is my password. So SSID and password are already here. Now when I'll simply save it, you can say like I'll be able to upload the code and I'll be able to test it, right? And some other configurations are also there which I've already shown in my previous video, so you can also change them. You can change the CPU frequency to 240 megahertz, and inside the serial flasher change the flash size from 2 MB to 4 MB, right? So just change it, and in case you have some advanced like ESP32 module, so you can change it as per your ESP32 module, right? So this is all about that. Now I'll simply exit this. I'll save the configuration. Now first of all, just simply build this. It's done. Now simply I just have to flash it, idf.py flash monitor, and you can also type up what port you want to specify in case you know what's the port number, but right now I'll not put anyone so that it will take it accordingly, right? So just simply click on enter and let's see what will happen. It is trying to connect to the network, and in fact I'm trying to connect to the same network to which my system is connected, and now you can see the Wi-Fi or your ESP32 is connected to the same Wi-Fi to which my system is connected, right? So I'll simply copy this one. I'll simply copy this, and now I'll go to the browser. I'll open it in a new tab. Just run this. Now right now you can see this is a message that I'm getting. Nothing matches the given URI. Now let's go back, and in fact here you can see not found, and this is because we don't have any routing with this slash, or you can say which is only linking to this IP address, right? So what are those to which we have connected them? And you can check in here. You have this, you have hello over here, right? So let's try with hello. Just simply add hello at the end. Press enter. Now you can see hello world. So this is how you can directly get your web server running and active on your ESP32. So this is the way like how we do that. So this URL was about the GET request. Now similarly we have the second URI, and that is for your echo, which is linking to your post request. So that was a GET request. Now I'll try the echo, which is the post request, right? And to do that I won't be able to try this on my browser, because if I'll try to do so it won't give me the results, because that's the post request, right? If I'll run it, you can see this is what I'm getting. Specified method is invalid for this response, right? So what should I do now? So I'll simply copy this URL. Now to check this, what I'll do is I'll simply open up the Postman, right? You can download it very easily. You will get it like over here. You can search on this Postman. So you can go in here and you can download it, right? Whichever version you want as per your operating system. So you can sign in and you can get that thing right from here, like products, download Postman. From here you can get that, right? But in my case I already have this, so I'll simply open it up. Okay, so now you can see over here I'll simply have to add the URL which I'm using right now, which is basically the IP address which I got for my like ESP32, and the routings for that, which was echo, right? Now over here I simply have to select the post request, because this time I'm going to apply that post request. And now over here you have to send the data along with that. So for that you simply click on this body, and over here you can say you can specify like what exactly you want to send, whether you want to send a normal text, whether you want to send a complete JSON data, whether you want to convert it to a JavaScript, HTML, XML, whatever you want to send, you can select that and you can accordingly send it. But in my case you can see I've simply selected text, and some text is already present over here, which is kind of JSON data, like in that form it is over here, right? So I'll simply try to send it and let's see whether it works or not. And one more thing, you have to make sure that while trying to access or while trying to run this, you have to make sure that your ESP32 and your system or your device on which you are checking for this should be connected to the same network. So this is what exactly we have to do. So just click on send. Now you can see I have sent it, and over here this is the body that I have got. Now we can go in here in the like terminal where we are actually checking it, and you can see this is what exactly I sent, and that is received over here, right? So in this way we have simply sent the data, and in the similar way you can try sending something else. Let's say I'll send something else this time, and that's Ashish Seni, and also I can specify the password, innovate yourself, right? So in this way I am writing this, and now I'll simply click on this send. Now you can see I've sent it. Go back, and you can check that, right? So this is the way how you can create your own web server, for which you can create the multiple routings based on the type of request that you want to do, whether you want to hit a get request, whether you want to hit a post request, right? So we have seen both the stuff. Now you can try it according to your requirement and according to your naming convention that you want to do. So this is all about this. Now let's check the basic authentication URI as well, right? Just because it's a get request, so I can directly open it in the browser. I'll type in here basic underscore auth. Press enter. Can you see everyone? It is asking you for the username and password. Now what are the username and password? You know it very well, right? So it's ESP32 as the username, and the password is like ESP32 web server, right? So it's that one. Just click on sign in. Oh, I think like I forgot the password and maybe the spellings are not correct, so I can go in here and I can check for that, and let me correct it. It's this one, ESP32 web server. Let me type it. Just sign in. Now can you see authentication true and the username is ESP32? So that means I am able to connect to the network, or let's say I'm able to open the URI, and that too with the authentication. So this is the way like how I can do that, and I hope everything is clear to you, right? So this is the way to do this. Thank you so much everyone for watching the complete video. So if you are still watching this video, that means you have loved our content and you have found it very valuable. So if you are new to our channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to press the bell icon if you want to get a notification whenever we'll upload a new content. And also, if you have liked this video, do click on the like button. And if you're new to our channel and if you want to get all the updates whenever we will upload new video, or whenever we'll add up a new content, then in that case, we have recently started a new WhatsApp channel. We have a Telegram channel. So all the links are given in the description below. So you can check that and you can accordingly subscribe to that, so that whenever we'll upload a new content, you will get a notification. And in fact, you can connect back with us in case you are facing any difficulties in understanding any of the concept. So that's all from my side for today. So see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye and happy coding. Bye bye.